What's up? Happy Monday. Welcome into the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. I'm Harrison Graham. We are live here on YouTube. Appreciate everybody waiting in the chat. Sorry for the slightly delayed start today. We had a big company meeting, so that pushed things back a little bit, but we are ready to go, and we are excited to talk some Chiefs football with all of you, seeing some people with some ideas in the chat. That's always fun. Shout out your city, get the chat going, and let us know where you guys are watching from. As Tony says, it's all good. I appreciate that, Tony. You know, things come up, and we all have to adjust. We got Hayden in Hamilton, Missouri. Bailey saying, okay, let's go run it back. What's up? Bailey in Fort Worth. We got James in Baltimore. Oh, he says Shannon in Baltimore. Waukene, Kansas. We got Tony in Dallas. Evan is in Springfield, Missouri. Jeremiah in Palmer Lake, Colorado. Tony in Dallas. We got Dean Bishop in Springfield as well. Kansas City, Kansas from Freddie Martinez. Where are the people hanging out today? We're here in our Dallas, Texas studios, so excited to talk to all of you here on a Monday. Producer Sam hanging out with us once again. We got executive producer Tex. Sam, any words today?
Sup?
What's the message here on a Monday?
Good vibes only on a Monday. We're going to pretend like our brackets haven't been terrible for the last month, and I'm going to say that I got all four teams perfectly in the Final
Company
Four.
Final Four bracket? Who says no?
Yeah. Hey, I finished second. Let the record show.
I still am not confident that I would even pick the last three games right. So.
Oh, shout out to Lemon from Edmond, Oklahoma. My dad's from Edmond.
Oh, there you go. There you
Edmond
go,
Memorial,
Lennon.
class of 93.
There you go. Daniel in Independence, Missouri. Tony says he rewatched the live watch party. The Super Bowl one, that was an electric one. That was our biggest watch party, I think, among our NFL channels ever. 400,000 views. That was a good time. Kevin in Arizona. Hi from Israel. I don't know who that is, but what's up? We got Dale Webb in Hagerstown, Maryland. BK in Victoria, Kansas. Laura Ortiz with the Super Chat. If you guys Super Chat, it's a guarantee to get on the show. So anybody who wants to do that, we will get you on. He says, trade for an old draft crush, Terrace Marshall Jr. If you want to trade low, I mean, I'm not giving up much for Terrace Marshall. He's already been on two teams, right? Didn't he go from Baltimore to Carolina?
He got drafted by the Panthers, had kind of an injury-filled first year, and showed some flashes last year.
Why
but
did
yeah,
I think he was with Baltimore?
I don't know who you're thinking of.
Maybe I'm mixing up Laviska
LSU
Shenault, who's been
receiver.
moved. I don't know. Terrace Marshall. Yeah, he hasn't done much. I liked him coming out, but I mean, what do you think he'd get, like a sixth? I mean, he hasn't done much.
Nothing past day 3, I don't think. Yeah, and I don't know that Carolina, with how few pieces they have on offense and how they're trying to rebuild, I'm not even sure that they'd really just punt on their second round pick already.
Yeah, they've signed Adam Thielen. They added DJ Chark. So, you know, it's hard to know if what the new regime feels about Terrace Marshall. But interesting idea, Lord. We'll probably answer that question in our mailbag video coming up as well.
That'll actually be the very first question on the mailbag. So shout out to Lords getting in early. And
Super Chat, skip the line. They move up to the top. So.
Any other Super Chats going up to the mailbag? Those will be the next questions up.
Yep. Hashtag Chiefs the other way to get your questions on. How about a different receiver that we'll get to in a second? Hashtag Chiefs Super Chat. That's how you get your questions on the show. What about Odell Beckham? This is the live poll question. Should the Chiefs sign OBJ? Type OBJ for yes, no BJ for no. 65% of the live polls say yes. What are you guys thinking? Lennon says he might be going to the draft. That'd be sick. It is in Kansas City this year, so the Super Bowl champs hosting the draft. I know logistically it probably doesn't work because this draft is right after the Super Bowl, but I think that'd be a cool thing is if you win the Super Bowl, you get the draft. Maybe a logistical way of doing it would be you get it next year because that's enough time to plan it. Hey, just an idea. Commish Goodell, I take 10% commission for these ideas, so
I do like the
Atrium NFL and Venmo.
I am excited for the draft in Union Station. Like, I think they can do some cool stuff with that for sure.
I think it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. All right, what are you guys saying? Hayden says yes. Emperor says OBJ for yes. Kevin says yes. If no D-Hop, yes. It's kind of where I'm at. I still want Hopkins, but if the Cardinals aren't going to budge off their asking price, then, you know, the Brett Veach may have to pivot. Caden says OBJ for heck yes. Lennon says yes. So does Tony. K. Chappell wants D-Hop. Let's see. No OBJ for the Chiefs for King. Tony Fuentes says yes. Freddie says yes. So I'd like to see it. I would prefer Hopkins, but I'm open to Odell Beckham if the price tag isn't too hefty. Who is your dream pick at number 31 overall? The Chiefs have the 31st pick in the NFL draft, the last pick in the first round this year. Remember, only 31 picks because the NFL had forced the Dolphins to forfeit their first round pick for tampering. So who's your dream pick at 31 overall? Let me know. Who do you guys want in the draft?
Who would your dream pick be? If you have a guy who just naturally just falls to 31, it's just perfect.
If somehow JSN fell to 31.
See, I was thinking
awesome.
One of those receivers.
Or Quentin Johnston. I think they'll both be gone, but
I was thinking one of those two receivers, or maybe some sort of, I don't want to say Michael Mayer slip.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd go tight end in round one.
Like if the top,
I'd rather go round two there.
Well, for a team that doesn't have that many needs, it almost feels like you have the luxury.
I will say this. If you're thinking that you need to look toward Travis Kelce's long-term replacement, this is a good draft to do it. I mean, there's a lot of good tight ends. So, yeah, I mean, I'd be open to that. I'd almost rather trade down from 31 and get someone early on in round two. JSN from Hayden. Will Anderson. Well, that's beyond a dream. That's you're praying at that point. Brandon Flowers. Do you mean Zay Flowers? Not sure. Brandon, isn't that a former Chiefs player, Brandon Flowers? Not sure.
For a second, I was thinking of the Notre Dame quarterback, but that was Brandon Wimbush.
Yeah, Brandon Wimbush. That's a name drop. Mims out of Oklahoma. You don't have to get him in round one. Should the Chiefs draft a tackle in the first round? Maybe Emperor, #Chiefs to get that question in. Let's get to this soup from Dale Webb. He says trade 2 first-round picks and a player for Nick Bosa. We will be throwing this into our mailbag as well. We were actually asked about Nick Bosa on a mailbag last week, and you guys were very interested in that topic on the channel. So I don't think it's realistic, only because I just don't see a scenario where the 49ers trade Nick Bosa away, but, maybe he asks for a crazy contract and John Lynch just isn't willing to pay it. So maybe in that scenario it could happen. But could you imagine Nick Bosa next to Chris Jones? I mean, good luck. Like, you're not blocking that tandem. So that'd be electric. I don't think it's likely, but that would be electric. All right, what is your favorite sports team not named the Chiefs? I like this question from producer Sam. It can be another NFL team. It can be an NBA, a college team, MLB, a lot of Royals fans, I'm sure, in the chat. I know there's been some heartbreak from Kansas sports fans with Kansas State dropping in the Elite Eight, Kansas losing in the second round. So who's your second squad? Tony's a TCU guy. Hey, listen, Tony, we're on the same page. Evan says the Cardinals. K. Chappell says the Mizzou Tigers. MIZZOU. Let's see. The Sea Dragons. Is that the XFL team in Seattle?
Yes, it is.
That's electric. The Lakers from Dylan. Tony says the Braves. We got Trojans in there. Cubs. Seahawks from Freddie. Hayden says the Lakers. Oklahoma Sooners from Dylan. That'll make Sam Brown happy.
Boomer.
What's the word out of spring practice?
The word out of spring practice is that Lincoln Riley is still a fraud, and this team is so much bigger than any of the teams that he's ever had. He was big into fast, tiny people who couldn't tackle well.
All right.
And Brent Venables is big into big people who tackle well, but
big year for Brent and the boys.
Athletes.
Big year for Brent and the boys.
It is.
Jeremy.
Boy, Dylan and I could have some conversations. And Current Slayer also said Sooners.
Hikimo says Tennessee Volunteers. Alabama from Hayden. You must be living pretty if you're a Bama and a Chiefs fan right now. Like, does life really get much better? Like,
yes, you could be Georgia and a Chiefs fan.
That's true. Or
you could be an FAU fan.
Yeah, true. I wonder how many fans out there are FAU and Chiefs fans. Does a single one exist?
It's a dying breed. It's an endangered species.
Exactly. All right, who's ready for the show to start? We can't start it until we get to 60 likes. We got 140 people watching. 27 likes. Got to get to 60. So let's get to 60, double the number we got, and then we can get this thing started, and I'll get some more shout-outs. Amazing Blue from Jeremy. Blackhawks from Top Kid Sports. We got Michigan Wolverines in there. The Red Vipers. Fazzy says, I'm watching from Africa country DRC. What is the DRC? Is that the...
That's the Democratic Republic of Congo.
Republic of Congo. That's what I was thinking. Republic of Congo. I didn't know what the D was.
Bonk.
University of Hawaii and TCU. All right, Dale Webb, that's quite the combo. I think you're just supporting me there. I appreciate it. 5 likes away. Shout out to Tony, Dale Webb for liking the video. Let's get there, and then we can get this party started. 60 likes. Need 3 more. Need 3 more likes. Shout out to the real ones. John Mack is a Royals fan.
You got to be that one guy that crosses 60 likes.
I'll be honest. There we go. 62. I'll be honest. I don't know what the Royals' outlook is this year. I'm assuming not great, as they're kind of still in their rebuild, but
yeah,
we'll see.
Maybe Brady Singer finally turns out to be all that and then some.
They need him to deliver. There's no doubt about it. All right, here's what's coming up live on the Chiefs Report, the latest Chiefs news and rumors. We will take your questions as previously mentioned. If you super chat, you can skip the line. Otherwise, use hashtag Chiefs and ask your questions that way. And then we got a new mock draft, a post kind of first couple of waves of free agency Chiefs mock draft. So go ahead and be sure to tune in for that. And we're going to have a ton of stuff to get to here on today's show. A lot of big topics. And by the way, we should mention, I don't really have it outlined in our news and rumors section, but Lamar Jackson requesting a trade earlier today. So lots of things happening in the National Football League as league meetings have taken place. So here we go. All this and more is coming up on today's Chiefs Report. Before we jump into today's Chiefs Report, appreciate all of the new subscribers. We crossed 41,000 on the channel. Awesome to see us hit another milestone. And I'm going to make a promise to all of you. If we get to 42,000 subscribers before the NFL draft, we will do a live fan-led mock draft. We're like 950 away. We just crossed 41,000. So can we get to 42,000? And if we do, on one of these live shows on Monday, we will do a live mock with you guys where you guys get to make the picks. It'll be a lot of fun. So hit that subscribe button. Join the movement. Chiefs news and rumors, plus draft and free agency coverage on a daily basis. I'm Harrison Graham, and you are watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. Coming up on today's show, we got the latest news and rumors around this football team. Let's go ahead and dive on in here. First is, does Andy Reid want Odell Beckham Jr.? Andy Reid did a sit-down interview with Steve Wyke of the NFL Network and was directly asked about OBJ, and he kind of kept it short and sweet, but didn't exactly shut things down either. Here's what he had to say, quote, Odell is a good football player. Yeah, he does a nice job, so we'll see how all that goes. Obviously, he can't say a ton. I mean, Odell's a free agent, so he doesn't have to kind of keep it mum is the word, but he's not going to go up there and, you know, make a huge recruiting pitch to OBJ, but hey, makes a compliment, didn't shoot it down. I would not completely rule out the sentiment whatsoever. And look, if they do sign him, it's very similar to kind of Juju last year, right? You're bringing him in, coming off an injury-riddled year. Obviously, this past year, OBJ didn't play at all, but you would be bringing in a talented guy looking to reset his career just a little bit to help out your wide receiver room, because that's, you know, something that you definitely need. Obviously, OBJ has been banged up in recent years, a couple of ACL tears, but when you look at this depth chart, I like the 3 guys there, but I would feel a lot better if you added someone else to this room. Bottom line, the Chiefs need another wide receiver, whether it's OBJ, whether it's DeAndre Hopkins, whether it's drafting someone in the first round. I don't know if a trio of Kadarius Toney, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and Sky Moore is enough to get it done. Sky Moore still has a lot to prove. Tony showed a lot in the Super Bowl, but now it's about being a week-to-week consistent player. Can he be that? I'm not saying OBJ is going to give you a ton every week, but you just add him in there, it's domino effect, right? You just get another guy who's talented, who can come in here, make some plays, and help out this offense. I would like to bring in Odell Beckham Jr. I still prefer DeAndre Hopkins, but if the Cardinals aren't going going to budge on their price in terms of wanting a second-round pick, then, Brett Veach probably isn't going to pay that price tag. Should the Chiefs sign Odell Beckham Jr.? What do you guys think? Type OBJ for yes or no BJ for no. This will be the pinned comment on today's video. So let me know what you guys think. Should the Chiefs sign OBJ? OBJ for yes or no BJ for no. Let's get to another free agency rumor. And I'm kind of just cooking this one up. I haven't seen Calais Campbell actively linked to the Kansas City Chiefs, but they need help on their defensive line, and he's kind of been bouncing around, taking some free agent visits. And I do wonder, could the Chiefs get involved? Should they get involved? I think the Chiefs and Campbell make sense for one another because he's a veteran late in his career, wanting to play for a contender and be productive for said team. And I think he'd have a role here. Now, you look at where he's visited so far. He's taken official free agent visits with the Falcons and the Jags, and I'm thinking Falcons. Surely he wouldn't sign there unless they overpay. He's reportedly set to visit with the Jets on Thursday. That's per Josina Anderson. Also, according to reports, he's going to meet with the Buffalo Bills. Now, I have not seen an official meeting date for that one. I would assume this week, probably after that Jets visit because, right up there on the East Coast, league meetings are going on through Wednesday. That's why he's meeting with the Jets in person on Thursday. So he's taking his time. I would think still time for the Chiefs to jump in here for Calais Campbell potentially. We'll explore that here in just a little bit. But first, I want to shout out today's sponsor. That is Athletic Greens, and they are here to build a foundation for better health. You can get comprehensive and convenient nutrition at athleticgreens.com/chatsports. I started taking AG1 toward the end of football season every single day, and I've never felt more energetic. Football season can be a grind. The off season can be a grind as well, and sometimes you need a little boost in your energy, and Athletic Greens has provided that for me. AG1 is getting me back into good habits. I'm seeing better digestion as a result as well as improving my gut health is something that I've needed to do, and that's something that's happening with the Simple Scoop every single day. Covering my nutritional basis for the day could not be easier, which is why I personally trust Athletic Greens. I just mix one small scoop of AG1 with water and drink it first thing in the morning. Boom, it's done. And it costs less than $3 per day. Pretty good deal if you ask me. It's a really effective daily habit with the highest quality sourced ingredients, a true win-win. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs. athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Use our link. You'll get that extra stuff with your first order. It's athleticgreens.com/chatsports. Link is in the comments and in the description of this video. Get started with Athletic Greens today. Okay, back to Calais Campbell. He's going to be 37 years old next season, and he's still productive, though. Like, as a heavy rotation defensive lineman that can play edge and on the interior, pretty solid, right? I mean, 5.5 sacks last year as a rotation guy for Baltimore, 14 quarterback hits, 4 forced fumbles. Like, he can really still impact games as a defensive lineman. And I know the Chiefs have kind of signed some depth type of guys recently. Like, they got Byron Coar, they brought back Tershawn Wharton, Phil Hoskins, yada, yada, Derek Nottie. But Calais Campbell, at minimum, would be a heavy rotation guy on this depth chart right now. I really do think so. I think he could kind of be that fifth defensive lineman for you, if you will, even if he's not a true starter, but still play, 50% of the snaps, whether sometimes it's an edge, 3-tech, even 1-tech from time to time. I like Calais Campbell. He's a leader as well. He's played for a lot of winning organizations. So I would like to see this happen. Whether it does or not, we'll have to wait and see. Doesn't sound like as of now the Chiefs are in the race for him. But we didn't know who all was in the race for him either until new visits got announced. So he's certainly taking his time and looking for the right fit. Now, name a free agent that you want the Chiefs to sign, that you think they should go out and sign. Maybe it's Odell Beckham. Maybe it's Calais Campbell. Maybe it's someone else. Let me know who that player is down in the comments section. We do have a Patrick Mahomes injury update. Remember him, the quarterback who's just kind of Superman and just does everything. Well, he did have that pretty severe ankle sprain late in the year, the high ankle, and sometimes you play through those. That leads to kind of a cleanup procedure in the offseason. Not the case. Andy Reid said that Mahomes feels good and did not need a procedure. Here's more from Reid on his quarterback saying, quote, "He jumped right back into workouts and working the ankle, rehabbing the ankle. He's lifting and running the parts that he could run, and he didn't miss a beat on that." And, I'm sure you guys have seen, clips of him working out and stuff that he posts on social media, so on and so forth. He certainly hit the ground running with the rehab and with the offseason program that he always does. And, it's a good thing and a good sign heading into the busier parts of the offseason. OTAs will be here before we know it, and then you got mini camps and training camp and so forth. And then, September rolls around and he looks to repeat this performance that he had last year en route to his second MVP. Mahomes said he'd be good by OTAs. I fully expect that to still be the case. He seems to be on track in his rehab and with everything. Obviously, worst case scenario, you hold him out of OTA workouts. Like, Mahomes doesn't need OTAs. But cool thing about Mahomes is he probably doesn't need them, but he wants them. He wants to be great. He doesn't want to miss those reps. So I expect him to be out there in some capacity, if not in full capacity. What do you guys think? Will Patrick Mahomes win back-to-back MVPs? Certainly think he has a chance. Type Y for yes or type N for no. If he does, Chiefs are going to be in a very good position to once again compete for a Lombardi trophy. Shout out to the real ones who have already subscribed to the channel, and if you haven't yet, if you've been hesitant for whatever reason, I would encourage you to give us a chance. It's 100% free, and like we said, once we get to 42,000 subs, we'll be live, and we will do a fan-led live mock draft, react live with you guys as we make the picks. It's youtube.com/ChiefsTV. Let's get to 42,000 before the 2023 NFL Draft. What do you guys think? Will Mahomes go back-to-back? Is he going to win 2 straight MVPs? Y for yes and for no. Get some shout-outs here. Dale Webb says yes. Your mom says yes. Rob says yes. Thomas, Tony, Ray, Richard, Hayden, Caden. We got Evan saying yes. Student Carson. We got Freddie, Tony, Caden again. Hayden again. Carson in there. Derek. Tom says, still can't believe we won the Super Bowl. 2 out of 4. Trying to make it 3 out of 5. Esbro says yes. Thomas, Tristan, Luis, Regev. We got Top Star 2. Darren, Rob, let's go. Y for yes and for no. Will Mahomes win back-to-back MVPs? All right, it is mailbag time. So if you got a question for me to answer, use hashtag Chiefs or Super Chat. To skip the line, if you Super Chat, you shoot up to the top of the list. We got a Super Chat during that news and rumors segment, so we'll work that Super Chat in very early as well. Super Chats get first priority, but we'll get to as many of your hashtag Chiefs questions as well. It is mailbag time. Let's jump into it here on the Chiefs Report. I'm Harrison Graham, and you are watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. By the way, before we jump into this mailbag, Chiefs Draft Hats, chatsports.com/Chiefs Draft Hats. They're pretty cool. We'll show you you guys pictures of a couple of them later on, but that's where you can purchase chatsports.com/Chiefs Draft Hats. All right, let's go to Laura Ortiz with the Super Chat. He says, trade for an old draft crush, Terrace Marshall Jr., who was a day 2 pick for the Carolina Panthers a few years ago. He's had some injury problems. I liked him coming out of LSU, a guy who can win some jump balls as a vertical threat, but he hasn't really been productive in the NFL. Late round pick for him? Sure. Like, I wouldn't probably give more than a 6th, but he would probably be like a number 4, number 5 type of wide receiver here. Dale Webb Jr. with a $10 Super Chat. He asks, trade 2 first-round picks and a player for Nick Bosa. Look, we talked about this on a mailbag last week. Nick Bosa in Kansas City would be awesome, but would the Niners actually trade him? I doubt it, unless he asked for an outrageous contract and they wouldn't pay it. But, yeah, I think that trade value is probably what you're looking at. 2 firsts, maybe more. So the idea of him and Chris Jones together is fascinating and fun. Is it realistic? I don't think it really is. Ryan says, how about trading Clyde Edwards-Helaire for a 7th and draft a new running back in the later rounds? Appreciate the Super Chat, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, I've said it for the entire offseason. I would trade Edwards-Helaire for anything. If any team is willing to send anything for him, I would take it. And that's not me trying to slight CEH. I just think it hasn't worked out here. And if you can get even a very late pick like a 7th and, clear out $2 million or so, which is what it would save you in cap to trade him, I think that's worth doing. And I think it's worth for him too. He needs a kind of a reboot, I think, with the new team. And yeah, we saw Veach proved it last year, finding Pacheco in the 7th round, that you could just find someone late in the draft that can be a rotation guy at minimum. Baby Shark, I saw teams have called about Brandon Ayuk. How interested would you be? We haven't talked to Ayuk on the Chiefs Report. It's fun. idea. The Chiefs and Niners have dealt with each other before. Obviously, they sent Dee Ford to San Francisco after that fraud jumped off sides in the AFC Championship game, which cost the Chiefs another Super Bowl appearance, but that's neither here nor there. But Brandon Ayuk, I mean, listen, he'd probably be your best receiver right now if you got him. I think Kadarius Toney has equal, if not more, potential, but Ayuk's been consistent. He had over 1,000 yards last year with the 49ers. He's familiar with playing with an elite tight end like Travis Kelce, as he has done that with George Kittle. So, yeah, I'd be open to it. It would probably cost you 31 and maybe a third or a fourth, like maybe a late day 2, early day 3 pick. I'd be open to it potentially. I like Brandon Ayuk. You'd have to be prepared to pay him, though, so keep that in mind. Would you trade for Brandon Ayuk? Type Y for yes, N for no. Pinned comment on today's show. Let me know. Y for yes, N for no. ZEZ with the super chat says, appreciate the content. Super hype for the NFL draft. Thank you, and go Chiefs. We're excited as well. Appreciate all the support. Subscribe if you haven't already. From Blake Haley, out of all the wide receivers in this draft class, who do you think fits the best? I would probably say JSN because he's a crisp route runner. Jackson Smith-Njigba, you can line him up in the slot and he can do that. Other receivers that have fit the Chiefs mold in the past, I would say, are like Zay Flowers and Jordan Addison. Smaller, quicker guys. But I personally would like to get a different look at receiver. Like, I think Quentin Johnston at 6'3", 215 could be interesting, right? A bigger guy that can give you some yards after the catch as well. The Chiefs haven't really had that at receiver much in Patrick Mahomes' tenure here. You already have plenty of smaller, speedy guys, Tony, Sky Moore. You had Tyreek Hill, you had McCole Hardman. Like, they've had those guys. I'd like to get a different wrinkle in here. Guy later in the draft, A.T. Perry out of Wake Forest. He would be interesting. But, yeah, those are a couple of thoughts on that position. Evan Fullerton, Darnell Washington at 31 if available. It's funny. Producer Sam and I were talking about this before the show today. Could tight end be an option at 31? And I kind of shot it down, but the more I've thought about it is if there's not a receiver you love there and if there's not a player at a position of need that you love there and you don't find a trade down, I'm not opposed to drafting one of the tight ends here. Darnell Washington, Michael Mayer, Dalton Kincaid, because it's such a good tight end draft. And if you want to start thinking long term, Travis Kelce I think has still several years left, but he's not going to play at this level forever. You could find a 10 to 12 year starting caliber tight end in this draft. So, yeah, I'm open to the idea of it, Evan. Darnell Washington is an intriguing one right now because I think as a rookie, tight end 2 role for him is perfect because he's a great blocker. Kelson could be that receiving guy, and, you can use him in the red zone some. Hayden Shepard, let's trade up for Addison. Yeah, I mean, look, if you want to get a receiver like Addison, Smith-Njigba, or Johnson, you'd probably have to trade up. There's been some chatter that Addison could slide, but still don't think he gets to 31. So, yeah, if you want to get him, you'd probably have to move up at least into the 20s. We mentioned it off the top. Chiefs draft hats available. Chatsports.com/Chiefs draft hats. I like the styles this year. You got the red ones, the white ones, the logos kind of creeping through the text there. I'm a big fan of that. You got the NFL logo on the side. And here's the cool thing, too. Both these color schemes, this one and then this next one, all available in baseball-style flat bill, curve bill, and snapbacks. 3 different styles for both kind of designs there, if you will. All at that same link below. Pick one up today. Draft is a month away. Chatsports.com/Chiefs draft hats. Let's go. Represent Chiefs Kingdom as the draft is in Kansas City. Jared Neal, any news about McKinnon? Just hoping Kansas City re-signs him soon. There's no new news, but remember McKinnon didn't sign, I think, until right around training camp last year. So, he might allow the Chiefs to go through the draft and see if they draft a running back that would be an RB2 type behind Pacheco, and, then make a decision after that. I could see the Chiefs and McKinnon waiting until after the draft. But I would like to bring him back. I think he's a great change of pace guy next to Pacheco. He knows his role. He catches the ball well. He can pick up the blitz. So, yeah, I'm a big McKinnon guy. I hope he's back. I think he'd like to be back, and I think the Chiefs would like to have him back. From Jay Soglee. Sign Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones has kind of been lost in the shuffle. Now, he's a little bit older. I think he's 33, 34 now, but as a vet type of receiver, I'll put it this way. Adam Thielen just got 3 years and $25 million. If you could get Marvin Jones for like 1 year and $5 million, I would much rather have Marvin Jones at that price tag. He's been productive in his career. He's been a number 2. I think he's more of a 3 or 4 now, but I like Marvin Jones. I still think he can be a valuable guy in a wide receiver room. He was a guy who was with Jacksonville last year and probably helped Trevor Lawrence out quite a bit. So I'm definitely open to that idea. Freddie Martinez here. Can the Chiefs go 17-0 if they get DeAndre Hopkins? Look, I don't want to say they can or can't. Could they? I think they could. I just think there's a mental toll that takes place for teams that chase stuff like this. We saw it with the Patriots. We saw it with the Warriors when they got to 73 wins and then they kind of ran out of steam in the playoffs because you just put so much into every game. And obviously, like in the NFL, you play once a week, so you can do that a little bit more, but it's still just 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. Like, I almost like it when the Chiefs lose early in a season. Like it was frustrating as hell when they lost to the Colts, but then this idea kind of just goes away, right? It's like, well, we're not chasing immortality anymore, so let's just go out and play. So, I think they could do it. I think they could do it more than any other team could, but you're playing professional teams every week, man. It is hard to win every week, especially when most teams are giving you their best because they know they got to play their best to compete with the Chiefs. How many wins for the Chiefs next season? What do you guys think? 17-game schedule. We'll just base it on the regular season. Without seeing the week-to-week schedule yet, I'll say they're 13 to 14 win team again, probably. They'll drop a game they shouldn't. They're really good at that. They'll probably lose a division game or so at some point, and then, they'll lose one of those 50-50 games. 14-3, that's kind of what they've been. So let me know. How many wins for Kansas City? Evan Fullerton is, if Bijan is available, you got to draft him, right? If he falls to 31, I think you at least have to consider it, but I like Pacheco a lot, man, and obviously Bijan is much more talented than Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but I do wonder if the Chiefs would hesitate just for the simple fact of the last time we took it back in the first round, it did not work out, and you don't have to force the issue at running back. So, look, if he's there at 31, it's under consideration, but I don't think he's someone you trade up for if you're Kansas City, and even if he is there at 31, I would almost rather start a bidding war for a team who wants to get him on that fifth-year option in the last year, in the last pick of the first round, because remember, first-round picks, you get that fifth-year option, and for a running back, teams like to have that and, have an extra year of team control over that player. Dale Webb with the super chat, appreciate it. He says, would you send a third? I think he meant would you send a third and a fourth for D-Hop? I probably still would. I know it's probably an overpay based on the market, but Hopkins, when fully healthy, still might be a top 10 receiver in the league. You add him to that offense that you already have. I mean, you got 10 draft picks. You got some ammunition to move if you need to. So I would consider it. I would definitely just send a third. I would prefer to not send a second pick, but I would have to consider it, Dale Webb. Make sure you guys subscribe. Join our live weekly mailbags every Monday to get on the show. That's when we film these on our live shows on Monday. So subscribe, turn on the notifications. Never miss a video here on the Chiefs Report. Christopher Stockholm, this may be a stretch, but do you think the Chiefs would trade for Ronnie Stanley? I don't think they would trade for Orlando Brown from the Ravens and then turn around a few years later and trade for Ronnie Stanley. Yeah, you said it. I do think that's a stretch. Richard Martin, Deuce Vaughn from K-State in place of CEH. Yeah, I mean, different type of player, but yeah, I like he's an example of if the draft comes and goes and you get Deuce Vaughn, then you probably don't re-sign McKinnon in that scenario. Maybe you still do if you dump CEH. Maybe you go Pacheco, McKinnon, Vaughn, and that's your kind of three-head horse. I could still see that being a scenario, but Vaughn does similar things to McKinnon, right? Like he catches the ball well. He's good at everything, not great at anything, but yeah, I like Vaughn quite a bit. I think, fourth round and beyond, I would be open to taking him. Go On Gaming, Marcus Peters reunion. That would surprise me. Things didn't end great with Peters in Kansas City. The Chiefs have a lot of corners, so I don't think that would happen. Student Carson, if the Chiefs want a fast wide receiver, they should look at Trey Palmer. What are your thoughts on him? I got to look at him more, to be honest, Student Carson. If I want just a straight speed guy, I'd probably look at Jalen Hyatt out of Tennessee. I don't know if he'd fall to you to 63. 31 feels a little rich, maybe a trade down scenario, but he'd be the burner I would look at. Tatum Floyd, what do you think about Chiefsaholic? I put out a YouTube short on the channel. If you guys haven't seen the story, I mean, it's honestly, it's unbelievable. So, kind of just go back into the old time machine here. So, if you don't know who Chiefsaholic is, he's kind of the crazy super fan who dresses up like the Chiefs wolf, yada, yada. Anyway, he got accused of robbing a bank so he would have money to go to Chiefs games. Got arrested, and then he was kind of put on like house arrest, I guess. And he is broken out of his ankle monitor. It is on the run. I mean, it is an unreal story. I put a YouTube short out on it with a few details. Go check it out. It's fascinating, man. The real question, Tatum, is will he evade police and make it to week 1 and get to a game at Arrowhead? Because that would be electric. Shout out Dale Webb Jr. for a super chat. He says, name a defensive tackle in this draft that would match up with Chris Jones. Like, play well next to him. If you want to get like a true one-tech, like Siaki Ika out of Baylor, he's kind of a bruiser that you could line up there. I like Kalijah Kancey, but he's a similar type of player to Chris Jones. Jalen Carter, does he fall to 31? You could play him at one-tech. He's gained some weight. So, who knows, man. How many wins for the Chiefs next season? We'll get some more shout-outs on this here. What do you guys think?
I'm going to go with 18.
So you're including the playoffs there, so 18-2?
You decide. I'm actually including the preseason.
Preseason, got it.
Yeah.
There you go.
22 if we're going playoffs.
22. 22-0. That would be electric.
Injured year. Chiefs don't get the number 1 seed, win every single game of the playoffs. 22 wins.
Let's do it. Esperos, Thomas, Tony. Tony saying 16, Thomas saying 15, Esperos saying 14, Terry says 12, Thomas says 14. Jim says win the Super Bowl, 13 wins in the regular season. Arrowhead says 15, Hayden says 15, Tony says 16, Kevin Gonzalez going 17, 19 from BJM. We got Blake saying 13. So, yeah, I mean, look, the floor in the Mahomes era has been 12 wins in the regular season, so I think it's 12 to 14 probably, and then, however many you win in the playoffs. So that's kind of just the standard.
Is it not nice to not really have to worry about the number of wins that you get in a season? Like if you're any team other than the Chiefs or the Bills, really, it actually matters, like how many games you win. Like those are the only 2 teams I think, maybe actually the Niners I'll throw into that group, where you're like, just get into the playoffs. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Well, I'll take it a step further with the Chiefs is like, at minimum, unless Mahomes gets hurt, that you're winning 12. Because every year he started, he's won at least 12. So until proven otherwise, like you're winning 12 or more with him. So even the year they started 3-4, they rallied to 12-5. Like that's just what they do. So yeah, it's a nice feeling for sure. Couple super chats coming in. Shout out to Jonathan. Says, what's up with the Bengals? Their roster looks light. I mean, they still have a lot of their core. Obviously, they lost Jesse Bates. They signed Orlando Brown. We'll see what happens with Jonah Williams. And Joe Mixon. We'll see what happens there.
They also lost Von Bell, the other safety alongside.
They signed Sidney Jones at corner today. I don't know if he'll start or not, so we'll see what happens there. I think they need to bolster kind of replenish a couple defensive pieces, but they'll probably just do that in the draft.
The thing with the Bengals is they know they're about to give Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase combined 1.5 Brinks trucks.
Yeah, $70 million a year combined. I mean, it's possible.
It's going to be insane the amount of money that they're going to get.
T. Higgins, too. They're probably going to try and keep him. Ryan with the 2 says, how about re-signing Frank Clark the longer he waits? Maybe. I mean, if his market dries up, like 1 year, $5 million, I'd bring him back for super cheap. I mean, it would have to be less than what the Chiefs tried to negotiate down in a restructure because they cut him and that dead cap is $7 million. So let's say they tried to restructure down to $12 million, right? Well, when they cut him, that cost them $7 million. So that leaves you $5 million in that scenario, right? Like you're not going to give more than what you tried to restructure down to. So I think you have to think of it like that. But maybe Clark looks around and is like, man, the most I can get is $6, $7, $8 million, and not for teams I like. I'll come back for 4 or 5. Maybe. I wouldn't rule it out. I think it's a possibility. All right, coming up next, we're going to get into a new Chiefs mock draft, kind of a post-free agency edition. Obviously, free agency moves still happening, but things have slowed down significantly. So post-free agency mock coming at you here on the Chiefs Report. I'm Harrison Graham, and you're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Coming up on today's show, we're going to take a look at a new Chiefs mock draft I've cooked up with the PFF Mock Draft Simulator. After the first few waves of free agency, we're kind of 2.5, almost 3 weeks into free agency now. Things have slowed down. Certainly some moves still to be made, but I think a lot of teams are starting to focus their attention to the draft, so we'll kind of do the same here on today's show. All right, let's kick things off here. Round 1, pick number 31. No trades on this mock draft. Felix Udike-Uzomah, the edge out of Kansas State. We've talked about him before. I think Mel Kiper mocked him to Kansas City in his latest mock. I honestly prefer him as more of an early day 2 guy, but you get to the end of round 1, you're probably drafting a guy with the second-round grade anyway. Udike-Uzomah obviously has the local connection playing at Kansas State. Had 8.5 sacks last year, 46 tackles, 11 TFLs. I've watched him in person a couple of times. He can be a game wrecker. I think he would fit. You obviously lost Frank Clark, so getting some more edge production makes some sense. I think this could be a good fit at 31 or maybe on a low trade down to 40 or 42. What is your dream pick at number 31? Who is your dream target with the 31st pick? And keep it somewhat realistic. Don't say Will Anderson. Will Anderson's not falling to 31. But you can, kind of stretch a little bit. Maybe you think Quentin Johnston could slip, or maybe you think that Jackson Smith and Jigba slides for whatever reason. Maybe even Jalen Carter. I doubt he falls that far. But who is your dream selection at number 31? Let us know in the comments below. Round 2, pick number 63. It's Syracuse offensive tackle Matthew Bergeron out of Syracuse, like I said. I still think right tackle is a question mark. Bergeron last year, kind of a mixed bag in terms of production, but the skill set is there. Gave up 5 sacks. His run grade was, just below a 70 out of 69. Some would say nice. I would like to see nicer. But, I think he could be a plug-and-play right tackle in the NFL. At least competition for Lucas Niang, right? I'm a Lucas Niang believer. I think he can be a starter in the NFL. We saw him play at a fairly good level in 2021 before he had that injury. I just think bringing in competition makes sense, and a guy in the second or third round could be just what the doctor ordered. Maybe Darian Kennard is that competition, but he did not show much as a rookie. Round 3, pick number 95. It is A.T. Perry, the wide receiver out of Wake Forest. Big and fast. I like this combination for the Chiefs. They have not really had a receiver like this in the Patrick Mahomes era. 6'4", 6'5", over 200 pounds, can stretch the field. Get a big vertical guy. I know Valdez-Scantling kind of does, or certainly does some of that, but A.T. Perry has a higher ceiling than MVS in my opinion, and it gives you another option down the field in this offense. So I think in the third round, the value is pretty darn good. Speaking of the draft, do you want more NFL draft content? If you do, subscribe to our draft-only YouTube channel. The link is below, youtube.com/chatNFL. We're publishing more NFL draft content around just general NFL draft stuff with mock drafts, news, rumors. Also, you'll see some team content too. You'll see some Chiefs draft content over there from time to time as well. So help us grow that channel. If you love the draft, tons of good stuff over there. I suggest you check it out. Go subscribe, youtube.com/chatNFL. How about this? Another Wake Forest player in this mock. Who would have thought that? Round 4, pick number 122, Kobe Turner, the defensive lineman. He's kind of a tweener. He's about 290. I think in this scheme he could play some 3-tech, some edge. I think he'd definitely be a rotation player as a rookie. But I like his upside. He's got some pass rushing talent, and again, you think of a guy like Tershawn Wharton, who the Chiefs found as an undrafted free agent. I think the skill set is similar. Wharton's kind of a tweener as well. Steve Spagnuolo likes to move guys around on the defensive line. We know he likes putting Chris Jones at edge sometimes. So moving guys around, I think he likes versatility, and Kobe Turner can provide that. Speaking of versatility, Deuce Vaughn, he is an absolute versatile weapon on offense. And hey, another Kansas State player here, some local flair. Round 4, pick number 134. Just productive. I mean, that was the name of the game for him. Now, he's the smallest player ever in NFL Combine history at 5'5", but he's tough as hell. He catches the ball well. He's not scared to kind of stick his nose in there and try and fight for some tough yards. That'll obviously be tougher for him in the NFL compared to college, but I think he can do a little bit of everything. His snap count will probably always be somewhat limited because of his size, but I think something he could also do in the NFL is be a kick returner. Isaiah Pacheco served that role as a rookie. You would think if he's the full-time starter next year, that would not be the case, so maybe Deuce Vaughn could serve in that role. So I like him. He's explosive. He's a team guy, so Deuce Vaughn late in the 4th round, sign me up. Yaya Diaby, who was one of the athletic freaks at the NFL Combine, he's sitting here in the 5th round, which I think would be a steal. Coming off the edge, he's 260 pounds. I think he's got some real upside. I think he's got starting potential. He's just raw. Like, he's got to put the skill set together, but that's kind of what you're looking for on day 3. You either want a guy that's got a lot of productive but maybe doesn't have the athletic traits, or the opposite, a guy who has traits but hasn't put it all together. That is what's the word? The kind of the status that he is in right now. He's just got to put it all together. The category. Such a hard word to think of. That's the category he's in. He's got traits. Now he's got to be productive. We'll see if he can do it in the NFL. Now, subscribe to the Chiefs Report as well, as our specific Chiefs draft content is going to be heating up here with more videos, more mock drafts to come. I told you guys in another video, if we reach 42,000 subscribers before draft night, we will do a live fan-led mock draft, so be on the lookout for that. This channel is 100% free if you subscribe. We don't charge a dime. Support the movement. Let's go. More coverage here on the channel. Next up is Davis Allen, the tight end out of Clemson, who pretty good athlete, tested well at the Combine. I think he'd be more of a blocker early on. This is a really good tight end draft. I couldn't get any of the big-name guys earlier, just the way the draft fell, so opted to go day 3 here. You don't have to force the issue at tight end if you don't want to. I would be open to it because it's such a good tight end draft, so I think a guy later here to come compete with a guy like Blake Bell for a roster spot could make a lot of sense. So bring him in here. He had over 400 yards last year, 5 touchdowns, so decent red zone option as well. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. I am growing more and more to the idea of drafting DTR on day 3 of the NFL draft to compete with Shane Buechele. The UCLA quarterback, a 5-year starter, took advantage of the COVID bonus year and really played well last year. 70% completion just about, threw for over 3,000 yards, rushed for over 600, took care of the football, 39 total touchdowns, led UCLA to one of their best seasons in years. I think he could come in and compete with Shane Buechele because I don't think you can just give Buechele the backup QB job. I think he's got to earn it. I think he deserves the chance to be the backup and should be the favorite to be the backup, but someone needs to push him. And I think a day 3 draft pick makes sense. DTR, I like him because he's mobile. So what do you guys think? Should Kansas City draft competition for Shane Buechele? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I would like to see it. Let me know what you think. Couple more here, round 7, not spending a ton of time. Kind of a couple of depth signings. Drake Thomas, linebacker out of NC State. Hopefully some special teams value there. And I always like drafting a corner in every draft. Round 7, pick number 250, Alex Austin, 6'1", 200. He's got decent size. Listen, Brett Veach found Jalen Watson out of Washington State in the 7th round last year, and he became a starting corner for this team. So you just never know. Obviously, when you're picking late here, you want to find guys that have special teams value. So, Chief scouts would have to determine if guys like Thomas and Austin could fit that bill. All right, there you have it. Grade today's Chiefs mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. Drop a letter grade down below. And if you can't remember all the picks, we'll kind of run back through them here, then you can drop a letter grade here. First 5 picks here, round 1, Felix Enrique-Uzoma, the edge out of Kansas State. I added another trenches player with Matthew Bergeron, offensive tackle out of Syracuse in the 2nd round. Round 3, it's Wake Forest wide receiver A.T. Perry. Kobe Turner, the defensive lineman out of Wake Forest in the 4th round. Deuce Vaughn, the do-it-all running back out of Kansas State, late in the 4th round as well. Yaya Diaby, the edge out of Louisville in round 5. In round 6, Clemson tight end Davis Allen and UCLA quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson. And then a pair of 7th-round picks, Drake Thomas, Alex Austin, linebacker at NC State, and then cornerback out of Oregon State. Drop a letter grade, A, B, C, D, or F, and don't forget to subscribe. Let's grow the movement here at the Chiefs Report. More news, rumors, free agency coverage, draft content. We will cover it all here on this channel, so go ahead and subscribe. And you can also follow me on social media at HGramNFL on Twitter. It's also at HGramNFL on Instagram. That is where you can find me and hit me up with all of your Chiefs questions. All right, grade today's Chiefs mock draft. A, B, C, D, or F? A, B, C, D, or F? Also, let's cross 100 likes. We're at 98 likes. 2 more. Come on. Like the video. Let's go. Jim says C. Tony B. Logan B. Arrowhead C. Ishak says A. Carson says B. T. Green says C. Kevin says B+. Hayden says B-. Evan says B as well. A lot of B's in there. And I think that's fair. I would have liked to get a better value pick in round 1, but that's just the way it fell, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. All right, Ryan says, when are you going live again? And a B. Unless the Chiefs make a huge move, like sign OBJ or trade for DeAndre Hopkins, I won't be live until next Monday. We go live every Monday, so that'll be the move. And then we'll probably be live at some point during the NFL draft. We'll try to be at least, so be on the lookout for that as well. So that is the answer to that question, Mr. Ryan. Okay. I don't think so. We're good. Appreciate everybody for tuning in today. If you missed anything on today's live show, you can scrub back on the video. We're about to sign off here. Shout out producer Sam, executive producer Tex for getting things done behind the scenes. I'm Harrison Graham. Any parting remarks, Sammy?
Monday's the worst day of the week, so hopefully yours isn't all too bad.
Hey, but it's the best day of the week for us.
Well, it's the best day of the week for Chiefs Kingdom. Yes, sir, that is correct. So actually, y'all have a great day.
Exactly.
Have a great rest of your day.
Well,
it's already been a great day.
The Chiefs report is over, so it's all downhill from here.
You peaked. It's nice to know you peaked early.
I'm kidding. Enjoy the rest of your day. Get a good dinner. We'll see you guys soon.